Hello there, welcome back. I'm going to do some more with effectful today. Last week I got enough set up that I had a storage effect, I guess, with an implementation that talked to Postgres. And this allowed me to load ledger entries from the database and print them out. That's all it does at the moment. So the plan for today is to plug in, or to set up Servant, set up a simple API endpoint, one to list all the ledger entries, and see if I can get that to run under effectful. So basically pass the effect in that lets it talk to the database. It's going to be quite a lot of templated code or setup code. So I'll just get stuck in. But I need to set up Servant and I'll need to copy and paste some stuff because I can never remember how to do it, and it'll just take a little while. But it'll be fine. This is where I got to though. This is the effect I actually wrote, I think is in store. Somewhere in here. This is the effect we have. It's got a single load ledger. Awful lot of code I just copied and pasted. But effectively, this is the implementation of it. So this is the actual loading. This is wrapping the loading into an effect. Not sure that terminology is quite right. And it works as well, I think. I think it still works. I think I ran this a second ago because I was setting up Docker again. But there we go. So it talks to the database and it gets some stuff back, which is cool. So what I want to do is make it talk to Servant. So I'm going to need Servant. I'm going to put it into the library. So I need Servant, and I need a version of Servant. I'm going to find a window here. No, I haven't done it. Servant. No. Let's just go to a package, and I'm going to search for Servant just to grab the version number, which is 021. That. Okay, and it can go off and start installing that. The other thing I want is I'm going to write at least one new module called API. I might write one called server as well, but API should be good enough for now because it's going to be quite small. And I'll create that. So under source, I'll have api.hs, and it'll be module API. I'm not quite sure when it's export yet. Maybe run. I don't know. And then I need to copy and paste some Servant stuff. So I am just going to grab this, I think. So I'm going to use named routes, named routes, depending which country you're in. There's a lot of errors. Sorry, I'm just wondering why quite so many errors. Is there a problem with the version I gave it? Oh no, we're okay. Found my so main expected API in source API.hs. Strange. Are we working well enough? Anyway, going to named routes. I'll have a single route which is going to be called. I won't actually have. Sorry, ledger routes. Ledger routes, named routes, and it'll be ledger routes. Ledger routes, can't type tonight. And I will put it under namespace of a ledger, I think. Might be ledger entries, but for now, let's put in the ledger. I'll create another data type, which is the ledger routes ledger routes. And this is going to be some row information. So we'll have list. I think you just do all this stuff again. I should really go and copy this in case I get it wrong, but it's just going to be a get. Let me copy it. It's this kind of thing I need. So it's going to be get JSON and we're going to return a list of ledger entries. Right, let's see if we can import stuff. There we go. Import that. We can import this. Add it to there. We can import this one. I can get rid of the admin routes because I'm not going to do that. We can import generic. I'll type use a new type. Why not? What's its problem here? So list. We can add get. That's not a problem. I just wonder why mode is complaining. What's the problem here? Not in scope type variable mode, but it is in scope here. Let me actually. Oh, it won't apply it for me. Okay, fine. What's wrong with this mode that works here? That's confused me now. Oh, sorry, it's a variable. So it's parameterized over mode. Okay, that makes some sense. Right, a little bit more stuff. So I found someone very helpfully posted the gist of effectful and servant. Know how to do it. We're going to need warp, actually. It's a good point. I'll have to go and grab that. Let me go and kick it off now because it'll take a while to install. So 341 for warp. Uh, 341. Nope, 341. So while that's installing, I will go and grab the kind of magic that I need to. I suppose I should implement the API at some point, but this is the nonsense I want. Say nonsense. It's not nonsense at all. It's just a lot of type related stuff to make it work. So I'm going to have run, which is going to call warp.run server. Okay. Proxy, we can say proxy is of type proxy API. Did I call it API? Let's find out. I did call it API. That's good. And delete this. I need to import proxy. Data proxy. I'm going to rename this. I never realized it stood for natural transformation. In the servant cookbook stuff down here, it's got this as NT. I didn't realize that's what it meant. But I'm going to call it NT, just confuse myself. Okay, application handler. Okay, I'm missing a couple of things from this example. So application, where is application? Where did that come from? It comes from servant. Why did it not offer to import that? it because I haven't got servant server? Servant server is also 0.20. So I'll grab that as well. Oh, 0.20. Right, hit that. Well, okay, so a couple more things. They had a type for their app, which is this, which is not quite the type for my app, but I'll start with it. Not put it there, I'll just put it above the API definition. So it's not quite this, although did it define server error somewhere? Not that I can see. Where does server error come from? Okay, so they are nothing there. Server error, I can't see them importing it from anywhere. Not quite sure. Oh, it comes from servant. Okay. Okay, so they're saying the error they can throw is servant's errors, and it has an IO effect. Okay. That makes sense. And then handler would also come from servant, but it is still installing stuff. You probably can't hear the fan, but I can, which would suggest that it's still installing things. And it's still trying to restart LSB. So I'll have a drink of water while it does that. While it's compiling, I can write the implementation of my server, which they called it app. I don't like calling it app, I don't think. I think I do. Everyone calls it app. Okay, so app is a type application. But theirs wasn't a type application, was it? It's the fancier type. And just copy and paste this. I guess a good thing to check would be, can someone else's example app work before I start getting into passing in my own database loading effect and returning that data. However, everything is very slow because it's doing a lot of compiling. So what this is going to do, you see these types are wrong. This is going to be a list of ledger entries. Oh, come on, how long does it take to compile? It doesn't take a user ID. So there. What have we got here? Their app. They're calling server with context, which I'm not going to use. Proxy, here's a quick way of writing that, is a proxy at API. So what type it is. Not having context. They're named API. Oh, it looks like we compiled. That's good. Proxy NT app. Or just slightly different. Okay. Let me start getting rid of some of these errors anyway. So handler will come from servant. Why can I add it to the list of imports? Application will come from servant server. That's why I couldn't find it before. Okay, F will come from effectful. Server error comes from servant. Error comes from effectful, error, static, I think. And this comes from effectful. Getting better. Okay. Expected constraint, but that is a type. And that is wrong as well. Is there a language extension that I'm missing? Oh, where did we go? Sorry, go back to the main for a second. No extension there. And in store, lambda case, but that's an extension. I think everything else went into here. So data kinds is in there, type file is in there. Is there anything else that they had? They only have data kinds for servant and effectful. Okay, I might have to engage my brain soon, but I was hoping to just copy and paste my way to getting this working. Okay, so this user stuff is all wrong. And there, and this, and that. So ledger entry, and it's not, it's going to be a list of ledger entries, but it needs some arguments. So it's got an ID, an amount, and a date time. Make credit. Actually, if we go back to main, there's some examples of building one by hand. I do not anymore. Do you have any tests? Not really. Nope. Okay. Oh, I need to fix it. I'll have to fix the type error first because I want to say I want to use lift.io, but it can't. It's not going to make any sense until it's worked out. It's actually running. Under effectful. Okay. Back to main for a second. So it's not showing what the type of all of this is. Store.load. Aha, this is the thing. See, this is basically what I want to do in my API. So FS's ledger entry. Load ledger. Oh, load ledger is in my type class, isn't it? Yeah. So it's this thing, which actually runs this code later on. Okay, what's going on here? So expected constraint, but it's a type. we get rid of the type? Can we get rid of constraint for a second? Maybe. What's the problem here? Illegal use of type constructor or class proxy. Okay, that's because I didn't import proxy properly. That's the first thing. Do the same thing for handler. Yeah. Okay. The ledger entry. Let me get their full code for a second. So they have an API here. I mean, I could simplify my API, get rid of the named routes just to make it slightly easier. But we still got the problem. So this takes an app. And natural transformation is a function which takes their custom type, the myapp here, and returns a handler. And it calls runf, basically. So the natural transformation NT, I would expect to be very similar to this. Oops. Something like that. So the runf, run error, and call stack goes here. I will want, at some point I'm going to want this, so I might as well put it in. Oops. Run ledger store IO. The except T I can probably get rid of. I'm not going to do with exceptions yet. I don't think. Ledger entry, I need to import a constructor for it. Ooh, we have some better errors, slightly more interesting errors. Ledger entry, so let me just turn it an empty list for now, actually. Let me get the types working, and then we can worry about making it do something. Okay, so runf comes from here. Comes from there. What's its problem now? Import qualified store. Serve comes from servant, maybe. Hoist server comes from servant. Getting slightly closer there, and then warp I should import qualified. Okay. The API I will just make simpler. I think I'll just say get JSON list of ledger entry. Okay. So type of myapp. I don't think we have this error in there, but I do think we have, let's just have a sort of load. I think we have this. Oh, where's it gone? Well, I don't know. Sort of ledger store. Nah. Just get rid of redundant imports for a second. Okay. So, what's this saying? It couldn't match. Config. Oh, I need the config from somewhere, I think. So type this takes a config. So then let me say it goes from config to that. And we can import this. And then we say config here, and then pass config into here. Okay, and now I think we have a problem with the type, so that's probably okay. That's not okay, but might be something I can fix. Okay, I do think I need the errors. Right. So this was error, server error. Need to import again. Server error comes from servant. Error comes from there. Okay, so this tricky error. It's looking for IO, either E0 or A, and it's got except T server error IOA. It's quite a bit wrong. Let me get rid of this part of it for a second. So we'll also get rid of config. And we'll get rid of ledger store from here. And now we've got couldn't match type IO either server error A with except T server error. They're except T in the chain. Where did except T come from? Control monad. Control monad except. Control monad except, and we'll put an except T. It's in a hidden package MTL231. And here, so the library will depend on MTL as well. It's only a matter of time. And I put a random thing in here. Right. Server. I'm going to take a config, which I'm not using yet. And in NT, we're going to pass config in. Okay, so they have got proxy, which is proxy API, host server, proxy, Dutch transformation, and then their app. And their app has got the correct type. So let me now use their app type again. Right, this is coming from effectful, not from servant. Oh, tricky. Okay, I'll put some from effectful. I'm going to return list of ledger entry. Where have we got to now? Okay, so I'm not using that yet. I will do in a minute. Need to look at what this is in a second. Okay, no, that's because they're taking an int and I am not. Okay. So, given this effect, run this thing. Now where have we gotten to? Config I've not captured here. Okay, so couldn't match type server T API 0 handler with handler ledger entry. Type variable API 0 is ambiguous. It is not. Sure, it's not. Oh, I see why they put proxy into a function. Because I got a random proxy just sitting here and it doesn't mean anything. Proxy equals proxy. Right, so now here I can say proxy. Right, okay. I thought I was being clever by inlining the definition of proxy, but I was not being clever. Okay, getting closer. So run takes config, does that, and it's going to run server with config. Okay. Good. Okay. Getting better. So I've told it to serve ledger entries as JSON, but I haven't told it how to do that. I don't even think I have ASIN. I do not. So here, it would have been easier to set up an API first and then convert it to effectful, or if doing both together is somehow sensible. Probably would have been just as difficult, or maybe more confusing. Right, ledger. So we have ledger entry deriving, I want doc equal show, but we're also going to derive generic. That I can then say, oh, I could probably import generic, that would probably make it happier. And then deriving any class to JSON. And I will just import that. Perhaps I intend to use derive any class. Well, I did. Maybe I know that wasn't already enabled. Derive any class. Is that right? That's right. Give it a second to restart. Oh, I type with that. Language, derive any class. No, it should have been fine. But the LSP was wrong. I was just too quick. Okay, so now, hopefully, it can derive a JSON instance of this. So I go back to the API. It's no longer complaining that it can't derive it. Good. And then, what's it complaining now? It complaining that it couldn't run Cabal. Okay. Back to main. Restart the LSP because it should be okay now. Okay, let's go back to the test and restart the LSP in here. Just to get rid of that error. So we have our config. We have a config, and now we can just say api.run the config. That's what I'm hoping. I cannot, for some reason. Don't desert me now, language server. Okay, what's this problem? It means I've got an error somewhere. Yes, okay. I think, okay. In the API, I should probably save the file. Okay, that's better. So now I can go back to main. I can restart LSP. It should work this time. It should tell me that I have an imported API. Maybe, there we go. Import qualified API. And then we can get rid of all of the imports. So our main function loads the config and runs the API. That's what I hope happens. I should be able to hit the API and it should give me back an empty JSON list. It will say nothing, but handily give me that. Raw data, there we go, empty list. Good. Not good, but skeleton of having the effects. Okay, so can I add my effect into here? So store dot load ledger error. That's not what I wanted. No. Store dot ledger store. That's what I want. So this now breaks because I haven't got that. And config doesn't exist, so I'll make config exist. And I thought that would have been enough, but it is not. There is no handler. Ah, okay. There's no handler for the load ledger error in the context. So does that mean I need to put it in here? No, can I make I think I might have a couple of different definitions of error, one from static, one from dynamic. I don't know if that's a problem or not, but I'll give it a go. Let me call this one static. And I'm going to call this one dynamic. And this one is going to be static. And it didn't make any difference at all. No. It did make a difference. Okay, how do we run it for? We run it with run error no call stack and then run error. So I think I'm going to replace this with store.load ledger error. Oh, which one is it? I don't know now because I've updated main and got rid of all my imports. Let's do it from dynamic. Okay. So somehow I need to have this run error call stack from static and my own error, which is this one. Can I do multiple error handlers? If we do this, it's saying how much type store ledger store with static error, server error. Static error, server error, dynamic error, load ledger error, store error, IOE. Those are my list of effects. So, on run F, we give it this. Run error. And it's store dot that. Then this doesn't work either. So hang on, expected F, these things A to that, and I actually got F, these same things, A to F, static error, server error, IOE. That suggests that I'm missing an argument somewhere. Because it's expecting to go from F, then my effects an A to F, small list of effects, IOE A, and it's actually got F, same list of effects, A to F, same list of effects, but not A this time, but either static call stack store load ledger error A. So this doesn't match this, which is true, they're not the same thing. Okay, so get rid of that. What's my error message now? So we expected my app A to bleh. We actually got let me just get rid of my effects from here for a second, put it back to where it was. So the type of this is something that takes my app A and returns handler A. If I add in here store dot ledger store, just gets an error up, it expects my app A to F IOE. Oh, this is so confusing. But it actually got F to F. So I think this is now saying it's missing an effect runner. And this is going to be store dot was it store dot run ledger store IO config. And now the error so I mean, this clearly seems to be saying it can't handle that error properly. Do I need this server error? Let me get rid of that again. Let me get rid of that. And that. And that. And that. Okay, I think that's the thing that works. Yeah, okay, so it started correctly. I'm going to guess it gives me back the right answer. Like that, raw data, empty list again. Okay, so back to API. Can I get rid of server error? Is what I'm wondering, first of all. Get rid of that. I don't think I can. But is it because of that? No, it's not. Because I need to give effectful at least one effect. Somewhere there's a link to dynamic dispatch, right. So it's so cool. It's where we actually run it I'm interested in. So they're running something here called action. Run F, run error no call stack. Do that for a second. And this is going to come from dynamic, I think. Did I get rid of the import dynamic? I did. And this is going to be at store dot load ledger error, I think. So now in my list of effects, I want error, dynamic error, store dot load ledger error. So it could match that with server error. It is expecting server error to be something that gets returned. Okay, so static.error, server error. We can say static dot run error no call stack. How did they specify it in their example? Just that. Run error no call stack. They didn't hint at the type. But it would be server error. Okay. Does ordering matter? I haven't put it. No, I have. Hang on. It expected F server error IOE, but it got F two load ledger errors and an IOE to. Oh, this is so confusing. Back to main for a second. What I did before, if I call this and I call run error with this, it could be run error no call stack, shouldn't really matter, I think. But these two lines together should be the effect I want. The other one is not an effect that I want, but I need it. So the other one being the this thing. And then the type of store.load is just that. And the type of app, well, I haven't told it as any effect yet, but I could tell it as an effect. I could say something like, how do you specify an effect? You say ledger store. So I could say store.ledger store. That. There we go. Okay, and now app says there's no handler for store ledger store in the context. I'm guessing that handler in the context is coming from effectful. So in here I could say store.ledger store, and now we get the error here where I haven't created it. So this is going to be store.run ledger store IO config. And now there's no handler for the error that this might throw. So instead of fixing that, can I get rid of in store? Can I get rid of that error? I don't think I can because it might throw an exception. But the way I ran it before was to say either static or dynamic. I don't know if it matters. Run error at store.load ledger error. And now it just gets really wrong and the typo gets very long. So expected is to A to F of some effects of A, and it actually gets this of A to F of those effects to either that or that. Where's the either coming from? Right, oops, in their example, in dynamic, their implementation of a pure file system, that's file system IO, but their pure one still says it has an error. Oh, I see, and it still throws the error if it's not in the file system. Okay. I'm just wondering how you chain effects or how you chain errors together. Yeah, this run error, how does that work? Effectful core. Run error handles error of type E via this thing. Errors of type E. So other call cycle that. Okay, so that's problematic. I actually want no, maybe not. Run error no call stack. We probably want, because I don't want the call stack. But that's not going to fix my problem. So we still have something which is either store ledger error A, and I actually just want something of type A. I can't get rid of the server error, because if I do that, then this gets upset. What's the type of handler? Handler in servant. So run handlers except T, server error, IOA. Except T. We need to have a server error somewhere. Static.server error. And that's an error. And that's not server error. Okay. Static.run error, no call stack. I can work out it should be server error, and there was enough. But then I can't access my effect, because I also want the ledger store. Effectful run multiple errors. Maybe run F. I want. Run F. I have a couple of error handlers in there in this random example. Error run fill in error. They just chain them together. Source. So wherever run is, which is effect run. They're not running multiple errors here, but they did have it in their later example. Another example. Here we go. Run effects. This thing. They run it with various things. Whatever this thing is, I don't know what that is. But it feels like I should just be able to chain them together. load error store load ledger error. And that is an error. And I'll make it a static error. Why not? It's the same thing. It now becomes an either. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm going to stop at this point. So I managed to get to the point where I can pass it. I can call runf basically with some server error and get it in here, but I haven't worked out how to add my own effect into the list of effects that it's running. So I'll come back next week and see if I can work it out. I'll try and look during the week, see if I can find the answer to this. But yeah, next week I'll come back and see how I can add my own effect to this list of effects that are being run. Cool. Sorry, it's a little bit of a inconclusive ending. It'd be nicer to get it working, but thank you for watching anyway, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.